My name is Jenny Dennis, and my speech is Hunger Pains. In 2012, 49 million Americans lived in food-insecure households. This statistic by the USDA from Coleman Jensen's 2013 study, Household Food Security in the United States in 2012, along with many others, are very prevalent in Americans' dialogue today. Through my work with City Square over the past 2 years, my colleagues and I have become very familiar with the issue of food insecurity in Dallas. We have found that there are a lot of aspects attributed to these issues and have decided to help in the fight by making a documentary that will help educate the unaware of the problem. We will be looking at the significance, harms, and barriers associated with food insecurity on a national scale, then looking at how our documentary will address these issues specifically in Dallas. First, let's look at the issue itself. It's very difficult to argue with the facts. Like I stated before, 49 million Americans suffer from food inequality. That's 14% of households, or 1 in 6 Americans. According to Feeding America's 2011 Food Insecurity and Food Costs in the U.S., Texas's rate of food insecurity is 4% higher than the national average, at 18.7%. The North Texas Food Bank Hunger Information stated that more than 1 out of every 4 children in Texas do not have access to adequate meals on a regular basis. Now, that's a lot of statistics, but let's look at the actual harms that come out of food insecurity. Being food insecure does not necessarily mean you are not getting any food, but that you do not have access to the right amount of nutritious foods your body needs. Lisa Goddard, in her 2012 article, Hunger Harms Health, for the Capital Area Food Bank of Texas, explains that when it is difficult to consume fresh, nutritious food, people turn to calorie-rich and nutrient-poor food, which is often cheaper and easier to obtain. She goes on to say that this lack of nutrition leads to all sorts of physical and mental problems, such as obesity, diabetes, depression, and suicidal thoughts. While these harms affect adults who are hungry, the effects that hunger has on children is even more detrimental. In an interview for the 2012 Magnolia Pictures documentary, A Place at the Table, produced by Christy Jacobson and Lori Silverbush, Dr. Mariana Chilton, the founder of Witness to Hunger, explained that any sort of nutritional deprivation, however short it may be, in the first 3 years of life, can have lifelong consequences for a child. She states that hunger affects cognitive development, ability to get along with others, and children could be constantly sick, constantly getting infections because they are not well nourished. With all of these serious issues that result from hunger, you might ask why this issue has not already been solved. Although America is often called the land of the plenty, there are many barriers that are keeping the hungry from being fed. One main issue that keeps people insecure is the lack of access to nutritional food. Many low-income areas do not have grocery stores or supermarkets that conveniently provide the area with the nutritious food they need. We call these food deserts. The USDA Nutrition Digest, published by the American Nutrition Association in 2010, defines a food desert as a part of the country vapid of fresh food, vegetables, and other healthful whole foods, usually found in impoverished areas. And it says that they are largely due to the lack of grocery stores, farmers markets, and healthy food providers. Food deserts cause struggling families to either travel hours on public transportation to only be able to buy what they can carry home, or walk down the street to the local fast food or convenience store for dinner. Along with this issue of access comes lack of nutritional education. In a 2014 article, It Takes More Than a Produce Aisle to Refresh a Food Desert, for NPR by Patty Namond, Alex Ortega from UCLA and Stephen Matthews of Penn State University explain the difficulty of getting people to change their behavior and routine to get them to shop at new stores and buy nutritious food. Ortega also realizes the need for educating those that do come on how to prepare healthier foods. Finally, one of the most important barriers that we have found and have personally decided to focus on is the unawareness of those that have the ability to help. We have found that many people in the upper class are or misinformed on the true issues. This is where our documentary comes in. After learning so much about the issue of food insecurity and how much it affects so many people in Dallas, those of us on the Just Productions team decided to put together a documentary that pulls together all of the knowledge we have learned. For our documentary, we will be interviewing Dallas leaders, experts on the issue of food insecurity, as well as adults and children who are affected by this issue every day. The documentary in itself will address the significance, harms, and inherency of this major issue. As we have worked so closely with City Square, we have been able to take the statistics that we read about and see them firsthand through programs like Food on the Move, Solomon's Porch, and Design for Change. We became somewhat overwhelmed in realizing just how large this issue is and struggled figuring out the best way for the 5 of us to make a difference with our short time here. We felt that it was our calling to teach others what we learned living downtown for an entire year. By focusing on educating others, we could then focus on all of the harms and barriers of the issue as a whole and let it speak for itself. By pulling together all the information we have learned about the issue, we will be able to make inequality emotionally tangible for people who are not personally affected by this issue. While the documentary might not be solving hunger itself, it will be able to inform people of the solutions as well as inspire them to partake in the fight. Other than the cost of equipment, like our camera, lights, and microphone, this documentary is relatively inexpensive to put together and will not cost anything to show to others once it is finished. We really feel that raising awareness is a major first step in solving hunger, and a documentary is a very practical way to do so. With the increase in social media and the world of technology and communication we live in today, we have no doubt that we will be able to reach the hearts of many people through our film. There are so many aspects that attribute to the issue of food insecurity, and it is our goal to use our documentary to help raise awareness of this problem. We could always use money to make our film the best it can be, but what I really ask for is for your support in this fight. Once we complete our film, we will need help in spreading the word. The only way this documentary can be successful in helping end hunger is by reaching those that need to hear it the most. Here's an interview by Michael J. Sorrell that we had the other day.
How can it not be? Right? I mean, how can it not be? I refuse to accept that we are in a society that can cure polio, that can figure out a way to have wireless service in the middle of farmland, and we can't figure out how to deliver safe and healthy food to people 10 minutes from a major metropolitan downtown area. No way. No way. I can't even bring myself to entertain that as an idea.
Hunger is here. Hunger hurts. But hunger can be ended. Thank you very much.